Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
I already love same-day delivery with Shipt, but it's so much better since I signed up for Target Circle 360. Why? Because I no longer pay price markups from the majority of stores through Shipt. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. That means no markups on groceries, pet food, even home goods and makeup. So to recap, I have more time to catch up on life while someone shops for me, and I spend less. It's a win-win. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
Military murder is an independent project and is not endorsed by the Department of Defense or any military component. The views expressed are those of the host. The content of this podcast is not meant to be legal or medical advice. Warning, this episode contains graphic details of murder and is not suitable for young listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, True Crime Army. I am your host, Margot, and this is Military Murder, a show where I focus on crimes committed by military members and veterans, and sometimes their spouses. But don't worry, you don't have to know anything about the military to listen, I promise. You just have to be a true crime enthusiast, and if that's you, welcome home. Since 2020, I have been bringing breaking news stories to my listeners through Patreon, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. But I wanted to open the aperture and bring some of these breaking stories to my podcast feed. Most of these stories will be less than 10 minutes and some might even be 5 minutes, but this is a way to keep you up to date with some of the latest breaking true crime news affecting the military and veteran community. If you follow me on social, which really you should be following me, you may have heard some of these breaking stories, but join me anyway. For everyone, I do need to give a disclaimer that all breaking stories are developing. What is initially reported may be different from what comes out at a trial, but most importantly, I will be naming suspects, and it's important to remember that all suspects, even if charged, are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And with that, let's get to our first breaking news story. Join me today as I tell you the story out of Davis-Monthan Air Force Base of military spouse Melody Feliciano Johnson. Now, let's dig in.
She's accused of pouring bleach in her husband's coffee, trying to poison him, and now she's behind bars.
RJ and his wife Melody Johnson had hit a rough patch in their marriage in early 2023. Well, it was way worse than a rough patch, but as most couples who are on the verge of divorce, the couple decided to continue to live under the same roof while living in Germany. It should be noted that RJ is in the Air Force. Maybe the fact that this couple was living in Germany had something to do with them staying under the same roof, or maybe it was the fact that they shared a child in common. But regardless, the couple was living together seemingly as roommates, different bedrooms, different bathrooms. Well, all was going well in Germany until March of 2023. The complaint that I read to educate this episode indicated that Melody would prepare the coffee machine at night before bed, and then in the morning when RJ had his morning cup of joe, all he had to do was press the on button and the coffee would come out. Well, one day in March of 2023, RJ noticed that his coffee tasted very bad. The coffee was like this for a while, not sure how long, but RJ got weary. In May, he bought some chemical testing strips to see what was going on. I mean, he had a feeling, but was he just being paranoid? When RJ tested the faucet water in his home, the chemical levels were normal. But when he tested the water in the coffee machine water reservoir, the test revealed high levels of chlorine. What in the hell? Well, RJ knew he had to catch his wife in the act. What was she putting in his coffee? So he set up cameras in the house. And when he went back to check the recording, he couldn't believe his eyes. He saw his wife pouring something into the coffee machine. It was clear that it wasn't just water. I imagine RJ's heartbeat racing as he caught his wife in the act. But now what? RJ thought to himself that he wanted to bust his wife and report her for trying to poison him. But they were still in Germany, and he really didn't want to get the Germans involved. That would be a nightmare. Can you imagine the headline? A military spouse arrested for poisoning her husband's coffee. RJ saw the light at the end of the tunnel, however. They were due to PCS in just a few months. So RJ waited. Can I just say that the wherewithal that RJ had to have and the mother-flipping poker face on this man? Okay, sorry, I just get in my feelings about this case. So RJ and his estranged wife traveled from Germany to Arizona. His new duty station is Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. So they move into TLF, which is temporary lodging on base. And RJ immediately set up his secret nanny cams. And wouldn't you know it, Melody allegedly poisoned the coffee again. I mean, this lady isn't very smart, but then again, RJ is probably a really good actor. By the time RJ gets enough recordings of Melody putting something into the coffee machine while he's stateside, RJ races to report Melody to the Tucson Police Department. It's July 5th or 6th, 2023 at this point. The police watch the video evidence and they're probably very impressed with RJ, but not that impressed. They tell him that the video is good, but not enough, as you can't really tell what the hell she's pouring into the coffee machine. It's unclear if they ask RJ to go back and get more evidence or what, but RJ decides, if they want more evidence, I will get them more evidence. The following day, the family moves into permanent housing and RJ set up cameras everywhere. I mean, it's like Big Brother up in that house. I mean, maybe not so much, but he did put up cameras above the coffee pot, in the laundry room, and between the two spots. Now, wait a minute. Can I just pause right here and say, what? RJ is definitely a brave soul. He knows for a fact that his wife is trying to kill him and he continues to live with her. What's to say one morning she doesn't just wake up and decide enough is enough and she grabs a knife or a gun or something else? But I digress. Thankfully, that didn't happen in this case.
The PC gave us computing power at home, the internet connected us, and mobile let us do it pretty much anywhere. Now generative AI lets us communicate with technology in our own language using our own senses. But figuring it all out when you're living through it is a totally different story. Welcome to Leading the Shift, a new podcast from Microsoft Azure. I'm your host, Susan Ettlinger. In each episode, leaders will share what they're learning to help you navigate all this change with confidence. Please join us. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
During this new time in the new permanent house, RJ was able to record his wife enter into the laundry room. She then pours bleach from a bottle into a container. She then walks from the laundry room into the kitchen and poured the liquid into the coffee pot. Eventually, RJ took the evidence to the police. And by mid-July, Melody Feliciano Johnson is indicted on 3 charges: domestic violence, attempted first-degree homicide, domestic violence, attempted aggravated assault, and adding poison to food or drink. Once Melody was arrested, she immediately requested an attorney. The prosecutors were asking for a high bond considering that Melody is originally from the Philippines. She's a flight risk, and get this, in December of 2022, she purchased a house in the Philippines. She is currently being held on a $250,000 bond at the Pima County Jail. Her next court hearing is scheduled for September 6. When reporting on this case, Newsweek reached out to the Tucson Police Department to ask them, WTF, why would you not investigate a claim of attempted murder by poisoning? Of course, they responded by pivoting and saying that they couldn't respond to questions about an open and active investigation. While no one died in this case, and I kind of made light of the facts as I was retelling it, because the husband was a complete badass in this case, it goes to show that domestic violence cases are oftentimes not taken seriously, especially when the victim is a man. Domestic violence or intimate partner violence is a very real problem for men. The CDC reports that 1 in 3 men will experience physical violence, sexual violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime. The statistic is different depending on where you look, but that is truly alarming. I am glad that RJ walked away with his life. Let's continue to watch our backs, be smart, and don't let your guard down. While we here in the True Crime Army live with our mantra, divorce is better than murder, some spouses out there believe that $500,000 worth of SGLI is worth more than a life. If you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence at the hands of your spouse or your intimate partner, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline to make a plan. They can be reached at 1-800-799-7233. Thank you so much for joining me in this first ever breaking news segment. Stick around and I'll catch you in the next regularly scheduled episode. My sources for this episode include the initial court complaint, the Daily Mail, CNN, Newsweek, the New York Post, and the CDC. Just a reminder, I do have a Patreon, so if you want to listen to more stories while also supporting your favorite podcast, make sure you check it out at patreon.com/militarymurder. You can also support the show by signing up for Apple Premium. Military Murder is a Mama Margot production. This episode was made possible by all of the Patreon and Apple Premium subscribers. The theme music was created by Ty-Ops. Until next time, remember, you never really know what someone is capable of, so remain vigilant always. You have a fabulous week, and I'll keep digging to bring you another military murder story next time.
Shh, Mom's working on our podcast.